You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod. Enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to the 232 episode of the Slow Ride Podcast. This is Tim, your 2018 Schwamigan Fat Tire Festival champion, Hayes in Orlando, Florida.
And filling in for Little Guy this evening, this is Spencer in Boston. Second place, I think, at Schwamigan.
I'm running out of ability to say that, 2018. Like, I don't know when you guys are going to put the sunset clause in that I can never mention it again, but Little Guy's not here, and
I mean, worst case scenario, Schwamigan 2019.
And with that, I mean, we do need to mention Spencer. It's the end of an era.
It is.
2018 is
the door is closing. Yeah, like Eric Saunders in a crit. The door is closing here. We're recording this December 31st. This is the day. This is the day that everything's going to change. Going forward from today, cycling is not going to be the same.
It's never going to be the same, and I'm very disappointed about the end of this era. I mean, I think that 2018 was a good year. It wasn't the best of the era.
It could have gone out. We could have gone out on a higher note. Let's just say, 2018. Yeah, no, 2018 could have been a lot better, Tim.
Could have been a lot better. The Giro wasn't as good. Bike racing was not totally as good. It lacked all the pizzazz that it deserved. Mm-hmm. And it was downhill, but it is sad that the era is now officially over.
Yeah, the era is done. Of course, we're, here it is almost 10 p.m. December 31st, so we've just got a little over an hour. Before it is really closed and done for good. But of course, we're talking about Pipo Pozzato retiring from professional cycling. His contract will end at midnight tonight. And, it's just,
we could keep moving to the West Coast, right? Like we could probably get another 10, 12 hours out of this until like it gets to Hawaii, right? Like the way that the clocks work.
Sure.
But Pipo, it was a glorious run. Mm-hmm. And although you may think only God can judge you, we can all judge you, and we give you passing grades.
Yeah, we do. It is the end of an era. He was, I don't know why, but he was one rider. He wasn't like a winning rider, really, but he was the one rider that I focused on a lot on the Fassa Bortolo team, which is kind of when I got into watching the sport. And Cancellara was on that team. Juan Antonio Fletcher was on that team. Pipo was like one of the three musketeers.
I just hit my inhaler.
Yeah.
Because Alejandro Pataki was on the team, man. In fact, it's because of Alejandro Pataki that I went to my doctor and claimed that I had exercise asthma.
Oh, well.
Exercise-induced asthma, so for an inhaler.
Sure.
Fassa Bortolo, Spencer, I'm willing to bet that of all the teams that the three of us like from our formative years of being cycling fans, like, because we got into it when we got into it. We can't fault when we became fans. Fassa Bortolo may be like, it might be on our Mount Rushmore of teams that we all collectively like. Like if the three of us had to agree on four teams of our era of the Slow Ride Podcast fandom, I would say Fassa Bortolo would be up there.
I'd say Fassa Bortolo would be up there. I'd say Credi Agricole would be up there. I don't know beyond that what we would possibly agree on.
Maybe AG2R. I think we can get Little Guy on AG2R. But maybe not you. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could just talk for a little bit.
I don't know if Little Guy's going to be
We'll save that one. We'll save that conversation for
That's
sure.
That's a 2019 discussion.
Yeah. And it's the end of an era, but there's a lot moving forward. So, like, for example, tomorrow is one of the greatest days in cycling because it's jersey swap day in cyclocross racing.
It's a jersey jumble.
Yeah, it's an old fashioned jumble,
Yeah.
and we don't. Oh, it's gonna make the racing actually exciting to watch a little bit from what Vanderpool's been doing out there.
I know.
I mean,
we might think somebody else is off the front for a little while before we realize it's Vanderpool in a different colored jersey.
well, or do you think Vanderpool thought it was actually January 1st the other night when he was racing, and he took out the marshal on the course, and he was like, "Oh, that could have been Wout in a new jersey. He was wearing yellow, and Wout's got a new yellow jersey."
Possibly. Watt does have a new yellow jersey.
There's been a fair amount of news since the holidays. I mean, Wout van Aert is free. He's free at last. Like,
he is.
Oh my gosh.
He's gone to the greener pastures, following the footsteps of a Lars Boom.
So, would you, Spencer? This is going to be an old-fashioned jumble of a podcast, especially little guy's not here to be the calming influence.
He's not here reining us in. Like, people may not realize that he's really the one calling the shots on this show.
Wow. Okay, so we already know Peter Sagan looks at Matthew Vanderpool and goes, Matthew Vander who?
Yeah.
Do you think now Peter Sagan is seeing that Wout van Aert has teammates and he's like,
I guarantee in my heart of hearts that he does not know who either one of those guys are.
That is, well, maybe. But
I think he will. He will soon enough, but
there has to be shaking in the boots of some of these guys that Wout van Aert has teammates now. Like,
possibly.
Now, look, he did have teammates, and they had a very good year, but then also a very bittersweet year with the passing of one of Wout's teammates.
You could say he had teammates, technicality-wise, yes, but in the Strada Bianca, there wasn't anybody there helping him. Let's just,
No, and then they also had such a tragic year, right? Like I was just saying, like with the rider that passed, but it was...
Sure.
But the team still did what they could. They were a continental team. They were not a World Tour team. Now Wout, who single-handedly captivated a nation on Strada Bianca with the falling over. Oh, yeah, man, poetic.
Rewind the tape back. What about Vanderpool and some crossing guard? What happened?
Yeah, so there's the bike race that both you and Bill alerted me to. It was the nighttime race in Crossland over there in Belgium.
Yeah,
and Bill's exact word. Bill's like, oh yeah, it was exciting because Vanderpool hit a marshal, and I was like, what? And he's like, don't worry, you'll see the GIF. Sure enough, my Twitter feed blew up. He lowered his shoulder, like it looked like he was playing British soccer out there. Like just really crushing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We did figure out why, because it was a big mystery why that guy was standing in the middle of the course all of a sudden on lap like 7 or whatever. Apparently a spectator dropped their glasses out into the course and he was retrieving them.
Good Samaritan.
So he gets the brownie points award, but his quote was, I didn't realize how fast Vanderpool would be coming.
So is everyone okay?
It seems like it.
Okay, good. Here's the next question. We're not the cross experts. I mean, we're experts in a lot of things. As an example, we were the very first to report that Kate Courtney was leaving Specialized to go to Scott team. So I feel like we have a high horse to get up on.
That's true. So now some other people did report it, like Pink Bike and Vital had rumors that she was leaving Specialized, but they didn't go as far to say what she was doing and that it was a done deal, which is, a cliff we were willing to jump off of.
Yeah, we're definitely willing to jump off a lot of cliffs. Yeah. We get tips all the time sent to us. We only report what we hear. But here's the thing. That, we're not the experts that are going to, read, play back, what is happening out there. That's what you can get at the experts over at Crosshairs Radio, Crosshairs Television, right? That's where you're going to get that in-depth analysis. However, Spencer, on the spot, Bill was saying the other day on Twitter that, Wout van Aert starting to pick up steam a little bit and looks like he's racing for the postseason. While Matthew Vanderpool has just been racing for the regular season. So right now, Spencer, what are the percentage chances that Wout van Aert repeats as the Cyclocross World Champion?
95% that he repeats.
Okay. Vanderpool going to be hurt, or is it going to be muddy? Like, what's the...
Vanderpool is going to be hurt in his feelings when he finishes second place to Wout van Aert. Cyclocross fans are amazing to me, because we remember the mud at a specific race in 2003 when Sven made this move over this, off camber, whatever. Like, we remember exactly that, but we have this short-term memory lapse where we seem to not remember at all what happened last year, where Vanderpool dominated every single race all through the season, and everybody's like, whoa, Wout should just give up. Why is he even here? And then he wins Worlds because he is laser focused on one thing, and that is winning Worlds. And he will win Worlds. He knows how to win Worlds, and he does not, like, his trajectory is exactly the same as last year.
As the former president of the Anybody But Wout fan club,
yeah.
And I flip-flopped. I saw the light. I want Wout van Aert to win this championship so damn bad. It'd just be awesome. I want this to become the albatross, the Achilles heel of Vanderpool's career, that he is, because we're going to get to this in just a second. We're going to segue over. But I would love it if Wout van Aert always just beats him in one race a year, and it's the world championship. So every time there's that jersey lined up next to him, it'd be great.
Yeah.
So, I was at a New Year's Eve party last night.
New Year's Eve.
Friend of the pod, listener of the pod, gentleman named Steve Selby here in Orlando. Powerhouse. Great draft to sit behind. He's like 6'6". He also wears AG2R jerseys on the ride, which is just amazing. And they're the older AG2R jerseys with kind of the weird like camouflage pattern.
Sure. Yeah.
Like almost the polka dots. Okay, so Steve knows cycling. He is a devout fan, enough to wear an AG2R jersey. So he knows enough about cycling.
If you're willing to spend $90 on AG2R paraphernalia, you are a fan.
Yeah, and he's a roadie. He's a classic roadie, like diesel.
Let me rephrase that. If you're willing to spend $90 on an AG2R memorabilia, you are definitely a roadie fan of cycling.
Yes. So here's the question, though, I tell him all about Mathieu van der Poel coming to Flanders. I'm talking him up.
Sure.
And he's just like, what has he really done? Like, who is this guy? And I say, well, he's the Dutch national road champion and the Dutch mountain bike champion. He's the former UCI cyclocross world champion. I even went back and dug out that he is the former UCI junior road race champion.
Okay.
And he's turning 24 in about 2 weeks, middle of January here.
Okay.
And he's like, well, yeah, so hopefully he just doesn't become another Frank Vandenbroek, right?
Yeah.
Like that's and because he'll go like, well, what is Lars Boom? What has Zednik Steinbard done? How do you explain Vanderpool to a roadie? Like, are we overselling here? Are cyclocross fans being I saw them when they were cool. I saw them before they were cool.
A little bit.
Like indie rock fans?
A little bit, but Lars Boom, that's fair. He like flashed in the pan. He had a couple good TT results maybe his first year or two on the road, but he's just been like a solid pack riding guy since. But to dismiss Stibar is a little... I've raised an eyebrow to that because he's had some very good results on the road. Some very high quality results. He is a perennial could win Paris-Roubaix guy that rides for the biggest powerhouse team that there is for the classics and stuff. And they haven't fired him or anything. So obviously he can do it, I would think a roadie would respect that.
I guess that a roadie should expect that. I would think that maybe he will in the long term. I just think that the ceiling of Van der Poel is so much higher. I think he's got the ability to go down as one of the greatest cyclists of at least the last 50 years because of the sheer fact of his multi-discipline. He will win the mountain bike Olympic gold medal. Like, there's no reason why I can't think of anybody that's going to beat him because he's going to be 2 years old. Like he's already proved that he's world class in the mountain bikes, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
He is proven that he can race on the road, like because he got second at the European Road Championships, which is basically like the World Championships.
Yeah, it is.
It's second there.
Yeah.
And then he wins the Dutch National Championships, which, like we were talking a little bit in the green room. That's not something to shake your stick at. I mean, that's a pretty solid win.
There's some guys in that field that, people have heard of, like, I don't know, Tom Dumoulin, like there's a lot of Dutch riders that are pretty fast.
I just think that
they're all very tall.
I'm just curious as to how we can temper our expectations, but then totally prepare ourselves so I can tell Steve, I told you so at his first like legit event.
Here's the problem is we know that Van der Poel has a higher ceiling than Wout van Aert. And Wout van Aert went out and got second at Strade Bianche, which is more or less a spring classic monument.
Yeah.
And like to hit a podium in a race of that caliber and to then be talked up for other races of that caliber.
And then get third at the road championships that Van der Poel got second at.
Right, exactly. Like Van der Poel, if Van der Poel comes out and is even as good as Wout, the roadies should be shaking in their boots.
Well,
I still don't think Sagan is concerned, but as cycling fans, we should be excited by what both of these guys are going to bring to the races.
So what's the minimum expectation for us? And we'll end it with this. Like what would you say beyond, like what does Van der Poel need to do to have a career that warrants the excitement that cyclocross fans and mountain bike fans have for this guy on the road versus like him being a draft bust, for example? Like, like we don't want him to be the next Greg Oden out there.
Yeah.
How many monuments does he need to win?
He's probably going to be the guy that wins all five.
Like if he doesn't win all five, you've been a bust, Matthew. Like
no, but I not that he'd be a bust if he didn't, but I actually think he might be the guy who does it.
Let's go through the five that he'd win. He's definitely going to win Roubaix.
Yeah.
He will win Tour of Flanders.
Yeah.
Milan-San Remo may be a little bit of a tough one, but maybe he can get over the Poggio first, or he can do like the Cancellara move.
Yeah.
Okay. He will win Liège. Like I could see that happening for sure.
Yeah, he's like a scrawny climbery guy who's wiry but still can ride Roubaix, Like he's the perfect storm.
Sure, Roubaix. And then lastly, it's a little too late in the season, but the Japan Cup may not be exactly his strengths. Like I'm a little worried about the climbing.
Well, it might also conflict with cyclocross season if he's still racing.
Yeah, that might be the tough one for him to get.
That's going to be tricky.
I would just say that he needs to, at the minimum, needs to win Roubaix and Flanders to have at the minimum, a successful road career for like what he is able to do right now and the expectations that everyone that's a cyclocross fan is putting on him.
Sure.
And a mountain bike gold medal / World Cup champion.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is he could very easily pull a Pauline Provost and win the worlds in all disciplines. He could do that. He is that caliber of racer.
You know what would be the best if he's like, you know what? I'm going to the trials world championship and he goes to like cycle ball or something. And you're just like, oh my God, artistic cycling. Anyways. Well, I'm excited about the upcoming season. Is there anything else on the recent cross races, Spencer? I know that you guys were able to watch a fair amount. I was traveling back from the land of cold and misery.
Yeah, the holiday season is tough for us to make podcasts, but it is very easy to watch cyclocross because we're in the Christmas period here where there's racing almost every day. Just the other day we had one of my favorite races, which was Diegem. We talked a little bit about. It goes through it's the nighttime cyclocross race, and it goes through the town center.
Yes.
So cool, so weird. I don't know how they get permission to do that, but it's incredible. It's one you guys should look up on YouTube if you can. Women's race was fantastic all the way through. We got a great show from Sana Kant with some excellent racing skills. We got to see Eva Lechner's big sunglasses, which were fantastic as always. Nobody rocks the glasses like she does in the professional peloton, men or women, road or cyclocross.
What was the race that was it Nomura? Like, what was the World Cup that was going on like a week ago where Stephen Hyde was getting in 16th place, and then Bill from Crosshairs tweets out, hey, he must have listened to the Slow Ride podcast once and he gets 16th or 17th. And then Hannibal Jerkin, fan of the pod, slays the tweets by going, I had a tweet all queued up and everything, but Tease things happen sometimes. It was such a good play on words because he got bumped out of that spot by Tease.
Yeah, Tease Hertz.
Oh, so good.
Excellent tweets. We had some, we had some kind of big news that I thought was really cool. Was Helen Wyman, who was actually co-commentating on that Degum race. She spearheaded her Helen 100 project. For the World Cup that happened just before that, to get 100 women in the race among all the fields. And she also funded the first ever junior women's race. That has never happened at a World Cup before. Which is
amazing.
It's incredible. They always have to race with the U23s. So you got 16-year-old girls racing against 23-year-old women.
Can I ask a question? Why did she have to fund that? Like, I mean, I know the Okay,
you know the answer, but like, I think she was determined to see it happen, and that was a way to make it happen. She was actually talking about this on the commentary. She was calling around a bunch of races and pitching the idea, and people were like, not super interested. And Erwin Vervecken was the promoter of the race that did it, and it was the first race. It was the race that had the first ever women's U23 race like 10 years ago as well.
So do you think that her idea, and maybe she talked about this she was on GCN, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Was her rationale like, oh, if I can show that it can be successful, therefore other races would do it? Yeah.
And it's a way to showcase those racers, and to actually give them a fair race because they know who they're racing against. Rather, you know how it is being like a 3 in a 3-4 field as a Cat 4. Like, you don't know who you're actually racing against. Who's the other 4s. Anyway, she actually said for that race, which was super early in the morning, like 8 a.m. or something to fit in the schedule. She said Sven Nys was out there. Sven Venturnout was out there. Bart Wellens was out there. All these guys who run the big teams in Europe, right? And they were
cheering on.
They were scouting. No, they were scouting because they were like,
"Oh my God,
we know how big the women's elite race is now. How much better television coverage it's getting. How much better ratings it's getting. We need to know who the next star is going to be, and in the women's junior race is where to find them. So they were all out scouting, and that's awesome.
We're going to talk about this in a little bit. We got a great email about Trek and what they're doing with the women's team.
Yeah.
And I think this is all going in. It's such an exciting time. I mean, that's why I really enjoy having Abby on the podcast. I'm looking forward to having her for our jersey draft coming up for the women's World Tour teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, pretty damn exciting. And I didn't know that about the Helen 100. I think that Helen Wyman has done such a good job of kind of promoting these types of events and also being a good figurehead that I'm very excited about this. So
it's so cool. And there's so much cool stuff going on in that women's field. We saw Yolanda Neff racing cyclocross.
Well,
we saw her bunny hopping. Amazing.
We got to get to this because Eva Lechner, fan of the podcast.
Yeah.
And probably arguably one of our favorite cyclocross racers.
One of our best friends.
Yeah. We have a picture to prove it. It's great.
We do.
Eva Lechner out there, who's been crushing it, swaps teams, doing awesome. Leading the way. She's definitely on the forefront. of racing. Like she's definitely up there in races, usually with the whole shot and, you know, kind of a good start. But
Yeah.
she's definitely crushing the sunglasses game.
Oh,
to
yeah,
which
absolutely.
a level that they're the glasses that we always say no one else can pull off. Like and she does it. And she's got these glasses, and they're the huge shades. And then, so we put this on Twitter, and then American racer Leslie Etheridge also just tweets us with a picture saying, always channeling my inner Bica Eva with these shades. And then also we get a tweet from Reagan Pringle. You sure about that? Because Yolanda Neff also is running these. So I'm starting to think that Eva Lechner really is on the vanguard just from being in the sunglasses game.
Yeah, she's a fashion icon for sure.
Yeah. Now, the glasses are pretty big.
They're pretty big.
I'm 100% a fan. I'm a fan of Eva Lechner, so by de
good.
facto, I'm coming around to him.
Did you hear what you said there? That you're not 100% a fan.
I know. You like that?
That was very nice.
Yeah.
I think the big glasses trend is obviously a thing all over, and I think we've talked about this before, but the only one that can pull it off is Eva Lechner. Like somehow, I don't know if it's the Italian stylings or just if it's just in her soul or what, but she can pull it off where everyone else looks a little weird.
Yeah. She's going to have to carry the Peepo legacy moving forward, and maybe for the sunglasses. So, all right. Well, at the end of coming up, we've got a bunch of listener emails, tweets, a lot of things to get through, and let's get into this preem lap.
Yeah, we got the Tour of Australia coming up, and we're looking forward to getting our bling report. And
My name is Matthew Vanderpool, and I don't listen to the Slow Ride podcast.
All right, Spencer, we've reached the preem lap again, and we have pretty big news in Wide Angle Podium land. Once again, go to wideanglepodium.com, see the family of shows. We just recently added the gravel lot to the show, the program, based out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and it is a fantastic show, really well produced. I love everything about it. I'm excited to have them on board. We have the Bike Shop CX, Crosshairs Radio, Consummate Athlete, and of course, Slow Ride Reviews. So
the most exciting thing I think about the gravel lot is I thought it was going to be all about gravel. That show is not about gravel racing.
No, please take a listen.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it too much because they might stop listening to us. It's that good of a show.
That's a kind of a worry. It's true.
Yeah.
They have a different style. They have a different, they're fun. They have a interview style show, a little different. Not about gravel. Guys, don't be worried.
Yeah, it's not about gravel, and it comes out every Friday, I believe. I think they're pushing for Friday morning releases. We're excited about that. So go check that out. And when you're also at the wideanglepodium.com, you look at that right side on the skyscraper, you're going to see the link to our brand new Grimpeur Brothers coffee. Hello, Cyclocross Friends from Grimpeur Brothers. And this, Spencer, you're our coffee expert. You're the aficionado. You're the barista that has shepherded me through the coffee game because I am still a rookie.
Yeah.
Why is this espresso blend the one I want?
Well, it's the one that supports the shows that you love on the Wide Angle Podium Network. That's the number one reason you want to buy it. But as a very nice consolation prize to that good, warm, fuzzy feeling, it's really good coffee. Grimpeur Brothers, they know their stuff. If you were out at Nationals, you probably got some coffee from them. They were out there slinging their beans. Dan has been at every Nationals for as long as I can remember, serving up coffee. I remember getting coffee from him when he was slinging it free out of his hotel room at Interbike years ago. Like this man is dedicated to his craft, and the beans are really good. Cyclocross Friends blend. Shout out to the Cyclocross Radio Show tagline. It's really good. It really complements the full Schleck nicely. So we've got 2 blends up there now. And we've got a hot link for you, Tim, a brand new one. wideanglepodium.com/coffee will take you right where you need to go for both of those blends.
Awesome. Wideanglepodium.com coffee. Go support the network, but most importantly, get some fresh coffee sent to you. It'd be fantastic. Hello, Cyclocross Friends compliments that full Schleck. Also, the another show. We always talk about Bike Shop CX, the mechanics in the room, right? Almost the adults in the room. You guys know me. I'm not exactly the biggest mechanic in the world. I showed up on a bike ride the other day, Spencer, and I looked down at my rear tire and I was like, wow, I have a bald spot on my tire.
Okay.
And then I looked a little bit more and I was like, wow, I really have another bald spot. 3,500 miles on my Vittoria Rubinos that you recommended to me a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
3,500 miles in the year, not one single flat. So I am pretty much sold on these for life. I have them on my Head Ardane rims, which are a little tough to put on because they're like tubeless ready rims. I've got to, finesse them on there.
Yeah.
But I took them off. I took a video. I asked the Bike Shop CX guys on our Facebook page, the Slow Ride Fan Experience Zone.
Yeah.
And I believe Scott Diedenbach's recommendation was that a little bit of a Sharpie, color in those bald spots a little bit with a Sharpie. I'd be good to go for at least another 3,500 miles.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds like a good solution.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm pretty excited.
Those tires were rugged, Tim. I cannot believe you were still riding those.
I was embarrassed when I took those off, and it was enough that when I was holding them up, people were like, "Are they wire bead?" Because they had been so set in their ways on this tire that they were in like perfect shape. But Spencer, these are. I might keep this tire just and bring it to the bike swap in February here and see if I can get a couple bucks for it, just for the joke of having that on my table for someone to look at. Be like, $5.
Let's see. You price it at $5. You'll take 2, and somebody will lowball you at 1, but don't take it.
All right, let's get back to the show.
I'm Joe Dombrowski from Cannondale Drop Pack, and you are listening to the Slow Ride Podcast.
All right, so we've got quite a few listener emails, tweets. We've got some Instagram DMs. DMs are always open. Go to the Slow Ride Pod on Instagram and Twitter. You can also find us on email at the slowridepodcast@gmail.com, and then also in Facebook, like I was saying, at the Facebook fan zone. Just
the Slow Ride Podcast official fan experience zone.
Yeah, fantastic. So the first thing that came across to me, I was tweeted by a friend of mine in Scotland, and he has a habit to be really into like non-cycling photos of cycling teams or of people in kits, professional riders in kits not doing cycling things.
Okay.
And he was the first one to alert me to the wonderful annual tradition that is the Quick Step photo shoot. In the past, we've seen the pillow fights.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen the fake sleeping.
Yep.
And this year, brand new, they take it one step even higher. And that, of course, is that they have the trampolines being used. Very exciting to see. So, yeah,
a lot of bouncing cyclist photos. Yeah. Full kit.
Just full kit. All right, Creed Monster, one of the longtime members of the supporters of the network and a big fan of ours, tweeted us saying that he was heading out to Brainerd, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Now, for a snowmobile trip, got any pointers or advice? I lean on you guys heavily for life advice. So he's loading up the circus, heading to Brainerd, and he's in St. Louis, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's gonna be heading up north, getting out of St. Louis, which is always a good thing for the Slow Ride Pod. And as he's up there in Brainerd, he wants to know what to do. So the first thing of advice I have for the Creed Monster is, I hope to God he has a snowmobile with heated hand grips, the heated grips.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen these? But snowmobiles, they have heated grips. It's the greatest invention of all time, but only snowmobiles after like 1998. So it's a very important thing. So hopefully he has an upgrade here on that.
Hopefully.
Now, most of my Brainerd experience is around the Brainerd International Raceway, where you can go do some, drag strip racing. So I
Some
would
hot
assume you
laps.
could take a snowmobile out there, go do some hot laps, and do a quarter mile.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you think? Like, how
Well,
else do you explain Brainerd? There's a
so-
Paul Bunyan statue, right?
Now, Brainerd is in Minnesota. I don't know if you covered that bit of it or
Oh,
not.
sorry,
We should have some intimate knowledge of things to do in Minnesota, being that we're all, spent a lot of time in that state. It's a cold and terrible place. It's basically Greenland for our UK listeners. And so, I mean, the main thing you do if you've got a snowmobile and you're up in northern Minnesota, don't be afraid to use it. That's my biggest tip. Is like you got to go to the
Shred the
grocery
knot.
store, you got to go to the bar, take the snowmobile. Like you don't need a car anymore once you're in northern Minnesota. You cross a certain latitude in Minnesota, you may as well not own a car. This snowmobile is all you need. And a fish house, an ice fishing house.
Yeah, so you definitely need a fish house. I was going to just take a quick tangent. When I went to school for a year at Northern Michigan University in the lovely town of Marquette, Michigan, I saw kids taking snowmobiles to school. And that's about the same latitude as Brainerd.
Yeah.
So if kids can take it to college, a snowmobile, you can take that to the bowling alley.
Oh, yeah.
Because, just show up at the bowling. There's probably snowmobile parking right next to the handicap parking. You'll be closer to the door.
Yep.
Have fun on your trip. Send back some pictures of you with Paul Bunyan. Maybe go curling with the Olympic team. I'm sure they hanging out there
Yeah.
at the local brew, throwing back some brews. But anyways, let's get into a couple of the emails that came across that definitely struck my fancy.
Okay.
First, major shout out to Michael Stone from Northwest
Oh, yeah.
England. He always sends in some good emails. Hello, chaps and Abby. Yorkshire could be hosting the start of the Vuelta in a couple years' time. Negotiations ongoing. The Vuelta may be going to Yorkshire, England. So you heard it here first on the Slow
Now-
Ride Pod.
That's
Pretty
not in
excited about that.
Spain.
It's
I'm
not.
confused.
Yeah. Well,
All right. Well,
I mean, these things happen.
all
but
right,
the bigger,
Michael. We'll see if this turns out to be true.
I'm pretty excited about that. Now, the Tour of Yorkshire, Mike has emailed us previously. He also let us know that they announced the Tour of Yorkshire 2019. So courses, and from the sounds of it, it's pretty awesome. Now, this is like the race that is in the backyard of like Dowling and the Condor JLT team, rest in peace. And, that kind of level, but then also some Pro Tour teams go.
Right.
You gotta pick up the Jiffy bag every now and then and,
They
go up to
are
the England.
they're doing good things with their women's race. It's getting there. I know they're doing equal prizes and things like that. Like, there's some really cool stuff going on in Yorkshire.
Yes. And Mike brought up to us, the cool thing that he brought up was that even though it's not going 4 stages, so it's not exactly where it needs to be yet, and everyone, I hope, agrees to that, is that the women and men's stages that do exist, they're both riding the same exact courses.
Yeah.
So
which is
same
awesome.
distance. They're not dumbing it down, right?
Right.
They're make it right. So I'm pretty excited to see that. So thanks again for Mike to send in the email. We got a couple of $1 million Tim suggestions that we're just going to put in the bank for later. But
Okay.
Ian Darling hits us up with an email. Hey guys, I have 2 pressing questions you seem the only folks capable of answering. Number 1, I just saw a photo of Tom Pidcock's bike with the European Champs color scheme. Of course,
Oh,
he won the
Beautiful. Yeah.
U23 European Cross National Championships, or world, Continental Championships. It is beautiful. If Brexit goes, or did he win the road? I'm sorry, but anyways, if Brexit goes through, does he have to give it back? Does he have to paint the bike black, start the race on the bike, and then switch midway through? I mean, this is a very good question.
It
With
is-
Brexit coming, are they still part of the European Championship?
Tough to say. It seems like probably not.
Well, let's just make it hilarious and say that, of course, he has to give the bike back to them and he has to paint it black because he's going to have to pull out the duct tape to cover the stripes, and it's going to be amazing. And I love this premise, and it's so good. So
It's very good. Feel bad for Tom though.
But Ian asks a more important question. I alluded to it earlier. He says, "Is it okay to like Trek again? I was on Team Le Mans when there was the nasty separation between the two.
Weren't we all?
Yes, we all were, especially being from Minnesota. Trek was part of the evil empire then, and they supported Lance. I swore them off. But now they keep doing cool stuff. First with the free streams of Euro cross races, then a real commitment to women's cycling through equal prize money and supporting strong teams and riders. How should I deal with the lingering resentment? Thanks for your wisdom, Ian." I think this is a great question. And I want to say that Trek I felt things really changed for Trek right around 2013, 2012.
Oh, so Lance's comeback.
No, but there was they started making, maybe, but they started making a change in the cyclocross realm. Like they started showing up at USGP in Louisville. Like they had the flags. I just kind of remember there was a different Trek vibe. Okay. They changed the color scheme.
Let me give you my take on this, because I understand what Ian's saying, because I am very much in the same camp. I'm
in the Trek camp though. Now.
If I had owned a Trek at the time, which I didn't, when all the Le Mans stuff went down, I would have lit it on fire. I would have been one of those people burning my Nikes or whatever people are mad about when they're protesting things on Twitter these days. I would have taken the Trek out into the front yard and lit it on fire and swore it off and, never again. But I have, like Ian, in the last few years, really, at first was conflicted. You think, okay, well, they made a couple of smart marketing moves. Of course, they're a big company. They're going to make some smart moves eventually. And you kind of yeah, whatever. And then they keep doing cool stuff. And then they keep doing it. And then they did stuff like funding the World Cup equal payout at their race out of pocket without any reason to do that. You know what I mean? There's no financial benefit for them. They've already got a World Cup. They've already got all the media attention. There's nothing more you can get from that besides they just felt like it was the right thing to do. And like you're kind of saying, there's a changing of the guard somewhere. I don't know. I assume there's new people in positions of wherever within the company. But it is, if I had to buy a bike, I would strongly consider Trek among my options.
Yeah, they're just doing cool stuff, and it's a changing of the guard, and I appreciate it. They're giving the support, and well done, bravo to them, and I'm pretty excited about it. And it's making cyclocross accessible. It's making women's racing more accessible, and it's making it exciting. They're sponsoring teams and the women's team and the men. There's just so much great stuff there. I know you alluded to a lot of it, but there is some of that lingering resentment, because I was definitely in Greg LeMond camp, but for sure. I gave him a business card to join our team all those years ago at the bike trade show. It was amazing. And he didn't ever showed up. But anyways, more dubious national championship jerseys. Friend of the pod, Jeff Aldrich out of Charlotte, North Carolina, hits us up. Happy holidays to everyone's favorite pod hosts. In a recent article about Zwift's recent closing of $120 million in private equity funding and the launch of a new esports cycling league, there was mention that both British Cycling and Cycling Australia will soon be awarding the first ever national championship jerseys for e-racing.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. It makes sense for the UK, since they are with the Brexit thing. That's pretty much all they're going to have.
Yeah, absolutely true. And there is no borders when you're on Zwift. In fact, you're on your own island. It's kind of amazing.
Does Watopia have a national championship jersey? I don't know this.
And furthermore, does the UK have a trade agreement with Watopia, or are they going to have to renegotiate that one too? And it's just further down the list,
Yeah, it probably is pretty low.
How long till USA Cycling has a national champion for e-cycling?
It's hard to say, because, with Derek Bouchard-Hall stepping away, again, another end of the era tomorrow as his contract expires. I feel like he would have been on board. He would have probably tried to figure out how to win that national championship quick before he left office. But, with him leaving, I don't know how on the ball USA Cycling is going to be going forward with the national championships they can award themselves.
Hopefully they listen to our podcast where we give suggestions on their hiring and what can be done to fix it.
It's true.
So go back a few episodes. It's there. We'll get you a number later.
Thing is now we talked in the past about what small country we can move to become a national champion of a country. And, there were various ideas bandied about, but this seems even more tangible, like more realistic to me. Like
we would still need to move.
I could try to immigrate to Iceland and become the road race champion there, but I have to imagine there's at least one other cyclist there, which means I don't have that good of a chance. It's not even 50-50, guys.
I thought you were going to go say you wanted to move to Watopia and become the Watopia. How's that, Spencer? There's 12,000 people on that island and they're all cyclists.
Yeah, Watopia, the taxes are way too high. I can't move there. No, but I could move. I could immigrate to Iceland and become the Zwift national champion because I'm guessing the internet connections there aren't as hardwired as they might need to be for good download speeds and stuff. And people probably gave up on it back when it was in beta and things like that.
Oh, yes. Good point. The wheels are gone. Matt Watts, friend of the pod, sends out to us. You may remember that Matt was posting his wheels on the Facebook Marketplace group.
Right.
Like an old wheel set. And our recommendation was, you can't go there. You got to give the people what they want. And that is on eBay. Mm-hmm. Don't mess around with the Facebook Marketplace. eBay is the place to be. And he says, number one, eBay is a great place to sell things. People like bidding and winning. Gravel in the keyword and title was clutch advice. Because that was the second part of our advice was just throw gravel in there as much as possible.
Yep.
And finally, this is a non-sponsor plug, but I totally agree with him. Bike Flights is a great company for shipping bike stuff. And I totally agree. They get great rates. It's super easy to use. Yep. I shipped back my mountain bike from Schwamigenland.
So did I.
No problems, So thanks for the guidance, Matt Watts. Matt, friend of the pod, easily one of the greatest names of any cycling fan of all time. So Matt, you keep crushing out there. I think you're up in North Carolina now. I used to ride with Matt here in at Gainesville, but anyways, very exciting to see. We also, as we go kind of a little more rapid fire, Michael Gordon hit us up with a nice Klein Fervor based in Wichita, just to give us a gauge. I think it's important that people let us know what Kleins are going for. So you may remember I bought a Climb Performance, basically their touring bike in Seattle. That was for $500. Came also with a fenders and a Brooks saddle. So a little bit, some additional add-ons at $500. This was a $400 Fervor, which had, did have the internal cable routing. It looks good. It's a size small, but at $400. So this seems a little bit on the bottom of the Klein market pricing that I see. They're not the flashy color schemes, but just something to keep in mind. If you see a bike around $500 for a Klein, it's a good price at this point. You should.
It's worth a second look for sure. If it fits you, you probably just go home with it.
Yeah, I think it's just important to kind of see that. Stephen Sheeling hit us up and just let us know that there's another one of those outskirt films just to make sure that we still do our bike packing trip in Mississippi, Spencer. So you might want to watch that to see if you can really get into the passion that is bike touring.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
And then we didn't even know that we had DMs coming through our Instagram feed, but we've had quite a few coming through. So first up, Blue Monday has hit us up, and it was a Movistar post that had pictures of the big three: Nairo, Valverde, and Landa. And it was like Giro, Vuelta, Tour of Vuelta, just basically and all he said was, tell Tim that Movistar is upping their infographic game. So it showed what rider was doing what event.
Yep.
So, Valverde, Giro, Vuelta, Nairo Tour Vuelta and then Landa Giro Tour. And it was just kind of funny that maybe Movistar's getting a little bit into the 21st century of promotion.
One can hope.
One can only hope that is true. We did get a good one here from Race Wheels and Barbells. Now, Spencer, we were talking a little bit about this. Recently moved to Austin, Texas. I really hope that you basically he races the Drive Race series, which is in Austin, Texas, which is like the big training crit series.
Sure.
Right? And he wants to know if he can do about 100% of his training on Zwift for that.
About 100%. Yeah, no, he's trying to get back in the game. Is what it is. He's been out of the game for a little while, and Tim, I feel like you might know something about this.
Just getting back in.
When
he's
you're
a competitive Cat 4 right now,
right? And if you want to get back in the game and you want to come into those spring, I've never been to the Driveway Series in Austin, Texas, but if it's anything like the Opus Series was in Minnesota, or most Tuesday night crit series is all over the country, it is the World Championships for the week, right? Like everybody's flying, everybody wants to impress. It's the one race most people maybe the only race people do. So you want to be going good for it. Can you train 100% on Zwift for an actual crit like this? Tim, do you?
Yes.
What do you think? You think
as
so?
a Cat 4, absolutely, because I think he could get to 3 just doing the Zwift for sure.
And what level on Zwift do you need to be to? Like level 30 by the time you know? Does that mean you're
definitely going to be able to get on Alpe d'Huez? What are you, like level 15 at that point?
All right, fair enough. I think I agree with you. I think you can get yourself fit enough on the trainer on Zwift to compete, to have fun, to hang out in the pack. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun. You're not just going to be pedaling around on Zwift. Like, you're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to watch your FTPs and get that number going higher and higher, and do a lot of those sprints workouts. That John's Mix, oh my God, under their training thing, that can be a pretty brutal workout. I'd try that one. Do a bunch of those. Don't just go soft pedaling around thinking you're going to be fit. You're going to have to work for it, but it can be done.
Yes, it can be done, and it should be done. Just do it on Zwift, but just don't take my title as the, I think, Armenia e-cycling national champion, because I think I could still claim Armenia for like Olympic purposes.
Okay.
So I think that I could, there's probably a way that I could maybe do that. My only fear is that if Chris Horner is already racing Tour of Azerbaijan, he might just go 60 miles to the west and claim a similar allegiance to Armenia. Then I'm out of luck. But anyway,
fingers crossed, Tim.
We got a good review. People always leave us reviews over on the iTunes. I want to thank, major shout out to Jonathan Crane. This podcast is laterally stiff and vertically compliant. That was probably one of the, yes. Was this review helpful? Yes. Thank you. And hopefully that floats up to the top. Thanks, Jonathan, out of Birmingham, one of the more underrated cities in the U.S., especially for riding. And he continues to crush it. So, Spencer, is there anything else you could think of that we haven't touched on yet?
Let's see. Let me check my notes. Quick step on a trampoline. January 1st, Jersey Jumble. No, I think we've got everything.
I think we do have everything. So I'd like to thank everyone for listening. We miss Little Guy. He'll be back next week. We'd also like to thank Grimpeur Brothers for their brand new Hello Cyclocross Friends Espresso Blend Coffee. We also like to thank the subscribers and supporters of the Wide Angle Podium Network. If you like what you hear, check out the website. There's some fantastic shows. Definitely give the Gravel Lot a listen. Can't say it enough. It's not just about gravel racing, so check it out. And we'd also like to thank BK1 of Rhymesters Entertainment for the intro and outro music. Probably one of my favorite parts of the show is the intro, and I think most people probably like the outro. And with that, this is Tim in Orlando, Florida. The end of an era is upon us, but I still can say right now that I am the 2018 Schwamigan Fat Tire Festival Showdown winner. And Pipo, thank you for a wonderful career.
And in Boston, Massachusetts, this is Spencer reminding you to always wave at all your fellow cyclists that you see out on the road, because you're not a jerk.
The Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod.